The start of a bright future, a future that Macquarie University wants to share with you. As a graduate, you are now part of our alumni community, a vast connected network that spans the globe, with thought leadership and networking events, locally and around the world, where you can connect with other alumni, find a future employer or employee. Also, as part of the alumni community, you have access to a wide range of benefits, including special discounts, free access to the library for life, an alumni e-magazine, special events, networks, and career and professional development opportunities. We celebrate and champion our graduate stories and achievements, so stay connected and stay informed. Graduation is an amazing milestone and one step on a lifelong partnership with Macquarie. That's you to the power of us. Stay connected by letting us know where your journey takes you. Simply update your details at mq.edu.au/alumni.
Hello again. Shortly, the academic procession and the Vice-Chancellor will make their way up the centre aisle for the academic procession. When they arrive on stage, they'll take their positions and Advance Australia Fair will be played. Could you please stand for the academic procession?
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Please be seated. Graduates, distinguished guests, colleagues, I would like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Chris.
Thank you. Warami Merika. Hello friends and Nalawa. Welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to firstly pay my respects to the country and its people, and to thank the university for their acknowledgement of us and the invitation to welcome you here this evening. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated. My family, in fact, descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it and so he enrolled his daughter Bulungari, or Maria, into the Native Institute, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them, and it became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here today. And with good reason. Your success is our success. Your advancement, our advancement. Now, that was probably better understood in traditional times when camp groups were smaller and clans abided by strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you caught and brought back was distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the rest of the community, and you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we work together. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer them to yourselves as a model or a benchmark on how good to expect our lives today. See, when Captain Cook arrived around 250 years ago, he encountered people whom he described as one of the happiest people he'd ever met. They were naked, they owned nothing but the tools they carried. They made their shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the earth without excessive tilling or clearing. Now, these were not primitive societies, these were ancient cultures. There was no army, no slaves, no rich and poor, no rents or mortgages, and no homelessness. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed, which were then shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained with fire and responsible harvesting. Our rivers and waterways kept clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. So this is not a dream or an ideal. This is normal life for us, and for the longest time, and not too long ago either. And there's no reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our families than what our ancestors enjoyed. Admittedly, there's a lot more of us, but we're a clever people. And there's still much magic in the world, I believe. So graduates, I would say expect great and wonderful things from your life. Life is good, and we are naturally a happy and healthy people. I would suggest be kind and fearless, share your gifts with the rest of us, and keep following that beautiful spirit within that got you this far. Do this, and I'm confident that together we can create a country that our ancestors would be proud of, and a future that is worthy of our children. We can all do our bit. I'll do mine now by winding up and letting you graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you, and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you. Didrigora.
I'm pleased to introduce the Vice-Chancellor of Macquarie University, Professor Bruce Stoughton. Vice-Chancellor.
Well, Chris Tobin, I thank you for your wonderful, warm, generous and informative welcome to country again. Thank you very much for being here to help the graduates celebrate today. Thank you. Colleagues, guests, particularly family and friends of our graduands, and most importantly, our graduands. It's a great privilege for me to welcome you all here today to this graduation ceremony. I bring you the greetings and congratulations of our Governing University Council and the Chancellor, Dr. Martin Parkinson, AC, who's not able to be here today. I do hope that today is a very happy and memorable occasion for each and every one of you. I did see as I came in that we have quite a number of small children today, and some I wish they wouldn't be leaving because they should be welcome to stay. Children are always welcome at Macquarie University graduations. I saw a little babe there who looks maybe just a few weeks old, and I believe that all celebrations are better for having children present at them. I'm a paediatrician by background. I can assure you I've heard far worse commotion and noise in my consulting room, If the Chancellor were here, he is the former Secretary of the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet in Canberra, he would have heard even worse in the Cabinet room. So children, you should feel free, and I know the children can't sit still and they can't not make a noise, so my advice to the children is run around, have fun. It adds to the whole celebration of a graduation, so please don't feel as though you have to take a child and sit them in their seat the whole time or stop them making a noise. They are very welcome at Macquarie University graduations. Today is a milestone day for all of our graduands, and today we celebrate the wonderful achievements that you've all made to arrive at this point. Completing a degree is never easy. It requires an intelligent and inquiring mind, determination and perseverance, and you've all made many sacrifices along the way as well in the pursuit of your end goal. You've worked very hard to get to this point, and you should feel very proud indeed of what you have achieved. We at the university are also very proud of your achievements, and I will be personally very happy to congratulate each of you personally as you receive your testimonies here shortly. I also want to especially welcome family and friends as guests of our graduands here today. The mere fact that you have been invited to participate in this ceremony today is proof positive that you have all made a very important contribution as well to the lives and successes of this wonderful graduating class from the Macquarie Business School and MGSM here today. So I congratulate each and every one of you as well, and thank you for being here to celebrate in this wonderful ceremony with us. Now, graduands, you may not realise it, but you are about to participate in one of Europe's oldest social rituals. If you go back, say, 500 years, and ask what organisations were present then that are still present today, there are about 60. In the Western world, if you leave aside the Roman Catholic Church, the parliaments of England, Iceland and the Isle of Man, and 6 Swiss cantons or local government areas, the rest are all universities. We are very old institutions collectively. In fact, graduation ceremonies are even older. For just on 800 years, graduates have been donning gowns just like the ones you are wearing today and participating in ceremonies just like the ceremony upon which we are about to embark. And since those earliest graduations, excuse me, the ceremony has remained largely unchanged, a defining feature of the life of every university and its students. Now, of course, we all realise that Macquarie University is not one of those ancient universities. In fact, we are just over 50 years old. And though we are among the youngest universities in the world, we are very proud to take part in this time-honoured tradition of graduation ceremony. We all know that youth, however, has its advantages. Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We enjoy an enviable reputation in discovery, excellence in research and impact. We're continually progressing and indeed extending our research, our partnerships, our course offerings and our facilities. We have a very proud tradition in innovation and discovery, and our pioneering approach is built around a collaborative and connected learning community. This is a very exciting time, a challenging time as well for all Australian universities, but like those, it's a very exciting time for us as well. As the vision, for example, of this remarkable campus continues to unfold. No doubt you would have witnessed some of that as you came onto campus today, and I urge you to have a look around in the new facilities upstairs, which we just opened about a month ago. And in fact, it was for the first time just yesterday that we used this new magnificent graduation hall. We have over 207,000 graduates spread across 140 countries around the world. It's very clear that we are a forward-looking university and we're on the move. And so indeed are each of you, our graduands. Some things, however, that we value very much at Macquarie University, I hope will never change. Over my almost 9 years with the privilege of leading this university, I've had many visitors to the university comment upon the friendliness and inclusivity and the warmth of welcome that they experience from our staff and from our students. I believe this is inherent to our culture here at Macquarie, and I anticipate that it will always be so. Remember, graduands, you will always be welcome back here at Macquarie University. We will always be a leader in teaching and learning, and a leader in the accumulation of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. However, our collective journey is more than that, I believe. It is about building community where we have shared values, where we share many things in common, and where we care about each other, even though we might have quite divergent views on a range of topics. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. Ladies and gentlemen, academic and professional colleagues, and most importantly, our graduands, I offer you the warmest of welcomes to Macquarie University on this grand occasion. This is a small ceremony by comparison with our usual graduations, as with the complexity of planning this ceremony starting several months back, we were still unclear about what COVID restrictions would be in place, so we will have a chance to celebrate individually all of your accomplishments. In just a few moments, it will be my very great honour to confer upon you your degrees for which you have earned, and to welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we call Macquarie University. At this stage, it's now my great pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker, Professor Debbie Haskey-Leventhal. Professor Haskey-Leventhal is a Professor of Management at Macquarie Business School and an expert on corporate and social responsibility, the responsible management of education and volunteerism. Together with the United Nations Principles for Responsible Management Education, she conducts international studies on business students and their attitudes towards responsible management. She initiated and led the Master of Social Entrepreneurship and the MGSM CSR Partnership Network. She has published over 60 academic papers in leading academic journals, and her work has often been covered in the media, including the New York Times and the Financial Times, Financial Review. She is a TED speaker and the author of several books, including Strategic CSR, CSR and Employee Engagement, and The Purpose-Driven University. I now invite Professor Debbie Haskey-Leventhal to deliver the occasional address. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Haskey-Leventhal.
Vice-Chancellor, members of the faculty, staff, graduates, and distinguished guests. Today is such an important day. Today marks overcoming every obstacle in your way of becoming a Macquarie University graduate. Every deadline, assignment, and emotional meltdown you had to endure in order to receive the diploma you're about to receive, be it an MBA or Master of Management or PhD. Particularly with everything that happened last year and everything you had to endure, a global pandemic, moving all your courses online, and finding creative ways to connect, study, and work. You and your family should be really, really proud of what you've achieved. But today is not the most important day in your life. Mark Twain once said that there are two really important days in every person's life. The first one is the day in which you're born. And the second one is the day, no, not when you die, that's the end of the game, but when you realize why you were born, when you find your life purpose and you understand how to lead a more meaningful life. Well, actually, maybe today is the day, because higher education, with all the knowledge, experience, and networks that come with it, could present you with opportunities to live a more purpose-driven life. especially if you embrace opportunities that come your way to step out of your comfort zone and create impact for the community. For me, that occurred in the very first year of my long journey of higher education. I was the first person to go to uni out of my very large and very religious family. And so I had no support whatsoever. And I often went through the week hungry in order to obtain my first degree. And so in order to survive, I had to take on some odd student jobs. But what I did next completely changed my life. I joined a tutoring program where I worked with a kid who was 8 and he was bullied a lot. And I helped him socially and academically, and in turn I received half my tuition fees. And I really felt like I made a difference in this boy's life. So I went on and volunteered for another year, and then I became the volunteer coordinator and the vice manageress for the entire project. At the age of 24, I was in charge of 1,000 volunteers, and I absolutely loved it. So I went on to do a master's degree in management of not-for-profit, and later a PhD in volunteering, which led me to where I am today. It was about taking on these opportunities that higher education presented to me beyond the classes that I attended that really helped me to find my purpose. So your degree is really important, but one question remains. What will you do with it? Are you only going to use it to increase your employability, or are you going to use it to increase your impactability? A word I made up, but it means your ability to create a positive impact in the world. Are you going to use it to increase how much you make or the difference that you can make in the community? How are you going to use your knowledge, talent, and skills to serve others? So what you need to do is find your why and your purpose. A purpose is a reason for which something was created or for which something exists. If we look around us in this room, everything has some kind of a purpose. From the chairs you're sitting on, the lights, this microphone. But talking about human purpose and what is our purpose as people is a little bit more tricky and a little bit more difficult to find. I urge you not to wait for a light bulb moment, or no one is going to come knocking on your door with a FedEx envelope saying, here is your life purpose. Instead, what we need to do is start living a more purpose-driven life. How? So one way in which I encourage people to find their purpose and discover a more meaningful life is by creating a triangle where on one point you have your talent, what you know, your experience, your knowledge, your skills. Here you have your passion, what you love doing, what you really care deeply about. And if you can connect the two in order to create a positive impact, that's how you live a more of a purpose-driven life. It's like Yvon Chouinard, who started Patagonia, because he was a good businessman, but he was also really passionate about the environment and nature, and he loved hiking. So he created a company where people who go outdoors can find the clothes, the shoes, and the equipment they need, but he says he's in the business of saving the planet. So he utilizes everything in the company to create a positive impact. However, finding your purpose is not the end of the journey. Maybe it's just the beginning. This generation is expected not only to discover your purpose and live by it, but also to become a purpose enabler, where you can help other people find their purpose, so they can in turn create impact, and so the virtual cycle continues. So if you're going to lead an organization, lead it with purpose. Utilize the power of business as a force for good. If you're going to become an entrepreneur, start your own business, consider maybe starting a social enterprise like Thank You, where the profits and the business are the means to the end, not the end itself. If you're going to be an employee, Start a revolution. Revolutionize your organization so it becomes more sustainable and responsible bottom up. And even if none of these applies, go and volunteer, work with the community, move from social media collectivism to real social activism, and use your voice and your privilege to make a difference. Never underestimate your ability to make a difference, because the best way for you to lose your power is to believe that you don't have any. Defining your life purpose, living and working by it, is really important because it can help you achieve a strong sense of meaningfulness. Work, life, relationships, everything becomes more meaningful when it is used in the service of others. Sometimes we don't even need to change what we do. All we need to do is open our eyes on how what we're doing, our role, our organization, our business, is serving others and helping them to increase the quality of their life and their well-being. It's really important to understand, especially now, that having such a sense of meaningfulness and purposefulness can also build our individual and collective resilience. And we've seen that with COVID-19. What makes everything more meaningful is when we have a strong sense of connectedness. We're not biologically wired to increase shareholder value. That's not what's going to give us joy. We are wired to connect to others, and what really brings us happiness is when we feel like we touch on other people's lives. If there is anything we've learned from COVID-19, is how much we yearn human connection. And one of the best ways to connect with others is through service. So let me finish by saying that your education is a privilege and a gift. It is your privilege that led you here and enabled you to achieve the degree you're about to achieve. But it's also a responsibility and a duty. The word educate in Latin means lead forward. It was our role as your educators to help lead you forward, help you step out of your comfort zones and do something meaningful and be ready for the world out there. Now it's your role to lead others forward. Step out of your chairs and your comfort zones and make a difference. There is nothing more rewarding or meaningful that you can do. Thank you.
Well, graduands, there you have, in the finest tradition of the occasional address at graduations, and I suggest that if you are ever feeling a bit lost, if you're ever in a stage of your professional career or personal life where you are wondering what the next step is and you feel as though you don't quite know the way to go, either think back to this graduation ceremony, go to the Macquarie website, find the recording of this graduation ceremony, and listen to what Professor Haskell-Leventhal said all over again. Life ultimately is about that quest for purpose. And I think she's got very wise words for us all there about the sense of connectedness being very important. I think she deserves another great round of applause. Thank you so much. As Vice-Chancellor of this university, I especially look forward to presiding at ceremonies such as today's and conferring degrees upon those who have complied with the university's requirements for such awards. I now call upon our Registrar, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academic Professor Mariela Herbstein to formally certify the eligibility of those who have met the requirements for these awards. Registrar.
Vice-Chancellor, I certify that all of the candidates being present here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degree they are about to be awarded. Would all the candidates for admission to degrees please stand?
Yes, that's you. In the name of Macquarie University Council and by my authority delegated from the Council as Vice-Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Graduates, please be seated. Vice-Chancellor, the graduates of this ceremony are from the Macquarie Business School. I now call on Professor Eric Knight, Executive Dean of the Macquarie Business School, to present the graduates. Professor Knight.
Vice-Chancellor, the graduates of this ceremony are from Macquarie Business School. Macquarie Business School, which includes the MGSM and the Macquarie Applied Finance Centre, is teaching the next generation of leaders. Macquarie University prides itself on what it offers its students, a focus on you to the power of us. And so it is with Macquarie Business School, your elevation as graduates of our MGSM MBA program, Master of Management program, PhD, is enhanced by being part of Macquarie Business. Today is about you to the power of us. The great economist and philosopher Amartya Sen, winner of the 1998 Nobel Prize in Economics, once said that true liberty is to have the freedom to live the life one has reason to value. So it follows that our true purpose at Macquarie Business School is to empower our students to live the lives they have reason to value. I have every confidence that the students who sit before us today will rise to the highest echelons of leadership. If history is any judge, these students are our next outstanding CEOs, entrepreneurs, public administrators, and not-for-profit leaders. This is hardly a surprise. They have had the benefit of deep work with our alumni and industry partners. They have been taught by some of the finest minds and scholars to be found anywhere in the Academy of Management. The programs they have studied are recognised and accredited by key industry bodies, and they enjoy a strong reputation amongst the leading business and professional communities here and abroad. I hope that when you look back at your time with us, you will remember not only your sacrifice and years of toil, but that it empowered you to serve and to make a difference in the world, to lead a life of value. Vice-Chancellor, I am proud to present you with the graduates from the Macquarie Business School, whom you have admitted to degrees. I present the graduates admitted to the degree of Masters of Business Administration. Carlos Langley Sanchez. Wei Wei Liao. Luke Anthony Marshall Weinberg. Marta Masudi. Donna Day Mendoza Duncan. Olga Meriful. Surbi Mishra. Daniel Alejandro Mora Leon. Alison Irving Newman. Avery Wilbert Alvarado Pale. Akash Pandey. Arjan Paul. Mark Kazuhiro Purse. Peter Matthew Percy. James Perry. David Pryskowski. Katrina Fleur Pryskowski. Suraj Narayan Ramnath. Nitin Rana. Sally Ann Ryan. Caesar Elias Saba. Kunal Sabharwal. Lorenzo Serva. Ryan Keith Sharrett. David Russell Streamer. Key Sun. Zhengxing Tan. Stanley Tang. Amy Verdi. Talib Hassan Sadiq Virji. Margot Wilson, who has been awarded the Macquarie University Award for Academic Excellence. Ashley Wright. Xiaochen Yang. Congratulations. Clara Chow. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Masters of Management. Mei Tu Yi. Taisha Nepal. Namasvi Sharma. I present the diploma awarded for the Graduate Diploma of Management. Winnie Masibo. The Doctor of Philosophy is awarded to graduates who have demonstrated the capacity to conduct research independently by forming a distinct contribution to the knowledge of the subject, and to afford evidence of coherence and originality shown either by the discovery of new facts or by the exercise of independent critical power. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Dr. Hassan Sahir, for a thesis entitled Digital Entrepreneurship, Review, Trajectory and Practice. Vice-Chancellor, that completes this evening's presentation of the graduates from the Macquarie Business School.
Vice-Chancellor, I call on Mr. David Bruskowski, who graduated with a Masters of Business Administration, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Mr. Bruskowski.
Good afternoon, Vice-Chancellor, members of the University, fellow graduates and guests. It is my great privilege to be invited to speak on behalf of you all today. Whilst reflecting on my time here, I was drawn to three key moments which I would like to share with you. The time at the beginning of our journey, where we started to study in my case, an MBA, then our time spent together throughout our learning, and most importantly, what is next, our future. The beginning. Making the decision to return to study was easy. Getting over the anxiety and the prospect of assignments, end of term exams took a little bit more convincing. What if I'm not smart enough? Echoed in my thoughts. Of course, this wasn't helped by all the moments I sat in awe of my fellow students, where I sat there and I looked at your achievements, your wealth of experience, your invaluable insights, and made all of my self-doubt grow even stronger. Thanks for that. Importantly, each of you inspired me. In the words of Shakespeare, we know what we are, but we know not what we may be. So thank you. My first topic of my MBA was Foundations in Management Thought. One might say it was a brave choice for my first taste of postgraduate life. In fact, those were Professor Spillane's precise words. It did not take long before I realised, like I'm sure many of you did also, that I would need to become much better at managing my time, especially if I was to successfully juggle family, work, study, and maintain some resemblance of a social life. Frustratingly exhausted within only a few weeks of starting, I reassured myself that this course would do wonders for my career. It turns out I was only scratching the surface. The highlight of my studies has undoubtedly been the opportunity to get to know my fellow graduates and make new friends. I found the richness and diversity is the foundation which makes this and any learning experience so special. Diversity provides us with a breadth of perspective which only very few are fortunate to experience. Yes, there were moments of frustration when group work went seemingly off track. However, these moments were some of the most pivotal in my personal development. After all, I am sure you will all agree, there is no serendipity in learning on your own. I'm truly grateful for all the connections and friends I've made throughout my journey, and look forward to watching you go from strength to strength in both your personal and professional endeavours. So what's next? Well, to my fellow graduates, well done. You've officially graduated today, and I feel privileged to have shared this day with you. As exciting as this closing chapter is, I feel that we mustn't forget how we got here. Each with a unique journey, may our struggles become our strengths and our success become a shining beacon for others, being champions of equity and equality, shaping the future of this country through inclusion, not prejudice. After all, leadership is not something that we should seek to achieve, it is something we should seek to inspire. Thank you.
Well, David, congratulations on your degree today, and I think, again, in that wonderful responsorial address today, there's a set of thoughts there for our graduands, and indeed for all of us. The appreciation of our peers, something none of us should ever lose sight of, and particularly I thought the conception of friends showing a richness of diversity. And that's something in this troubled world today that I would urge that you all give careful thought to David's remarks there. I had, ladies and gentlemen, just to go off script here from a remarkable experience a couple of years ago at this university where we have a lot of international students who come from far climes around the world, and we have a little departure ceremony for them because many of them can't stay for graduation. A couple of people make a few remarks, a couple of students, that is, I say a few words, and one young man gave a very fine set of remarks there, and he was from Saudi Arabia. And I went up to him afterwards to congratulate him on his little speech, and he said to me, "Professor Doughton, could I introduce you to my best friend?" And I said, "Oh, sure, where is he?" And he's in the row over here. So he took me over and introduced me to his best friend, and I said to his best friend, "And where are you from?" And he said, "Iran." Here we have two countries on the planet now that have a very, very hard time getting along with each other. And here we had two young men at this university who knew the meaning of what David talked about, friendship in the richness of diversity. That's what a university community does for you, and that's what it's all about. I was very touched by his remarks that day. David, congratulations again. I think you deserve another great round of applause for a fine speech. Ladies and gentlemen, that wonderful voice belongs to Ms. Angela Brewer, who is the CEO and Artistic Director of Coast Opera Australia. We're very fortunate that Angela was here to sing for you today. The Emeritus Chancellor used to make a note at this stage that if Angela wasn't able to come, she comes to most graduations, and if she wasn't able to be here, he would do these singing, which he actually had to do one day, but that's a very funny story for another day. I would not offer to sing if Angela wasn't able to be here. A wonderful voice. Let's give her another great round of applause. Please join me in thanking also our musicians on the organ, the University organist, Dr. James Forsyth. On the trumpet, heralding us in and out, Miss Melanie McLaughlin. I'd also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank representatives, volunteer representatives, I should add, from our alumni community who are here today to help us make sure that the proceedings go smoothly down the rear of the hall. Thank you, folks. Graduates, this ceremony marks a change in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it is certainly not the end of your association with us. From today onwards, you will always be members of the bigger Macquarie University family. As I mentioned earlier, over 200,000 graduates spanning around the globe. This is the beginning, as you've heard, of the rest of your lives. We will look forward to seeing you back on campus, perhaps to attend alumni events, maybe some further study, or to visit our beautiful campus. And I urge you in the twilight to take a wander around and have a look at the beautiful vistas we have. Graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges that you've also heard about today. But like all privileges, I believe it carries responsibilities. I urge you to commit yourselves to lifelong learning and inquiry. I urge you to set ambitious goals for yourselves. I urge you to continue the hard work that has already brought you this far. At Macquarie, we pride ourselves on developing each and every one of our students into engaged community citizens and leaders. I urge you to give thought to what you can do for others along the way. You don't have to be Einstein to change the world, actually. Sometimes you can make a very real difference by something very small, a kind gesture or a kind word to someone in a time of adversity or distress can mean the world of difference. I challenge you to continue to exercise sound judgment and initiative, and to always be generous in offering practical advice and wisdom to those you meet on life's journey. My hope is that as graduates of Macquarie University, you will use what you have learned not only for yourselves and your family, but also for the betterment of your community as well. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. It's also my hope that you will always remember those who have helped you out along the way, many of whom are here with you today to celebrate. So in order to acknowledge them and thank them for their contribution, I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things. First of all, I'd like all of our graduates to now please stand. And I'd like you to turn around and place your testaments on your seats behind you and face your family and friends. And I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause in thanks and gratitude. Now you might turn around, but don't sit down just yet. Here on the dais are representatives of our academic community who have supported you throughout your journey and helped you out. Please join me in thanking them as well. Graduates, please remain standing, but do turn around and pick up your testaments on the seat behind you, since the official party will soon leave the courtyard, followed by the graduates. We're going to go out that way and turn left and come around this side of the hall where there are some refreshments. As we leave the hall, Dr. Forsyth will play the traditional recessional music of graduations, which has been played for many, many years in countries all over the world. This music is set to an age-old set of Latin lyrics, which begins with Gaudeamus igitur dum sumus juvenes. In translation, this graduation exit song starts out, "Therefore let us rejoice, for we will always be young." This song speaks in a whimsical way of youth and old age at the very same time, on the brevity of life and the inevitability of death, of state and city, and of happiness. Again, to our newest graduates of Macquarie University, my warmest congratulations and my every best wish for your lives to be filled with success, satisfaction, achievement, and most importantly, in my view, happiness. Now might I ask everyone to please stand. Shortly I will lead the official party out of the graduation hall, followed by the graduates. I then invite you all to follow along and enjoy some light refreshments. In closing today's wonderful high celebration of your achievements, I say again, Gaudeamus igitur, therefore let us rejoice.